Hi everyone, this is Big O. Today, or right now, I got this laptop here. It's a Dell Precision M4500, and it gets real hot. It doesn't like shut down or nothing like that, but I want to take care of it before it starts messing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart and clean out all the dust out from under it, inside of it. And I'm going to reapply heatsink compound to the processor and all the stuff that needs it. You'll see what I'm talking about when I open it. The stuff that it comes with, heatsink compound that it comes with from the factory is okay, but over time, I mean, it's like the cheapest they use, you know. So it over time it turns into like rock or putty or whatever, and it sucks, starts crumbling off. So I've got Arctic Silver, which is I think one of the good name brands out there. So anyways, excuse the mess. I'm working on more than one project at a time here. The first thing we're going to do, or I'm going to do, is we got to remove this plate here. And there's a few screws here that we got to remove. They're all Phillips. So this plate here slides off. And first, we got to take the battery off, of course. It slides off, and once you take all the screws off, this plate comes off, slides off, or whatever. So I'll do that and we'll go from there. Alright, next step. Once you get all the screws off, there's like 5 of them. The easiest way to get this thing to slide off is there's some little rubber thingies here on the end that you can just push back, or like that, see? Push that way, and this whole thing slides off. Now it's important, for those that don't know, before you start putting your hands in there, you got to make sure, first off, they're clean, and second of all, you got to make sure that you ground yourself. Electrostatic discharge will fry these circuits. If you don't have like a grounding bracelet that you could ground somewhere, just make sure you touch some sort of metal that's grounded. I already know I don't have any static electricity on me. I already degrounded myself, but this is not a really good example, but you could touch some metal to release the ESD. Something that's like a cold water pipe or something, your desk or something, anything that'll, your doorknob, whatever. But anyways, that's up to you to figure out how to do that. It's just a warning. So take the metal plate off and just gently put it over here somewhere. And here we go. There's still some dust in here, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this apart here, the cooler, and what it does, it takes heat from specific heat sinks and it channels it to here, and the fan turns on, blows the heat out. So what the problem is over time these things get dusty and airflow gets impeded or whatever, and and by the way, if you need to change your RAM, this is the perfect time to do it. This is where you would do it. I think this laptop does up to 16 gigs of DDR3, and I have 2. Yay. I have 4. Okay, so never mind. So anyways, these screws follow a specific order that you have to follow. They're numbered. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in. So let's see, what is that? Well, I don't know what that is, but okay, yeah. See, that's what is that? 7 or yeah, no. Well, bucket. You see what I'm talking about? 2, 4, and etc. So obviously we want to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and whatever. And once we install it again, we want to follow the same order. We want to tighten up a little bit 1, tighten up a little bit 2, tighten up a little bit 3, tighten up a little bit 4. It's kind of like so it'll seat evenly, kind of like when you do your lug nuts in a star pattern on your tires. It's something like sort of like that. So we just got to make sure we follow the order to tighten it. There's 2 of these that I'm going to concentrate on is that one, which is the main CPU, and I think this is the graphics CPU, and I'm not sure what the hell that is. But how about Arctic Silver to clean that up? To reapply the heatsink compound to that. This one is pretty cool. You can change the CPU out to something faster, but this is an i7 already. It's pretty damn fast, so I wouldn't have to mess with that. And it has its own dedicated graphics card. This is kind of old already, though. I mean, I wouldn't say it's outdated. I would just say there's a lot of things better out there, but they're way expensive. So this is good for now for me. It does virtualization, which I need. I need my CentOS 7 or CentOS or CentOS 7 going. So yeah, we'll go from there. I'll take all these screws off and show you what's next. Okay, so number one is here. We're gonna loosen that. Here's number two. We're gonna loosen that. And here's number three. I'm gonna loosen that. Oh snap, my camera. Alright. Okay. Sorry about that. My assistant is not here today. Alright, so I'm gonna loosen this. I mean, you don't have to follow this specific loosening pattern, but I just like to do things in the order that this crap tells me. So this is 6 and this is 7. Now before you start taking all this crap up and apart, you want to make sure you don't break any wires that are, connected to stuff. So I see a wire here. So that's the power wire for this fan. So very carefully, I'm going to figure out how to take this crap off without breaking that wire. Let's see. Alright, well. Alright guys, it's very important, this part here. Once you loosen all these screws, this thing's gonna come off, right? But to get this heatsink out, you have to push it to the right to clear this metal here. But what happens is it's still connected here, the power connector there, and that powers the little fan. So you have to be very careful first. It's wrapped around a piece of plastic. I don't know why they did it like this. I guess to keep it out the way. But there's a piece of plastic there. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. But anyways, it's wrapped around like a little hook. You have to unhook that first so you can have clearance for that wire. And you want to be very careful with this, because if you break this connection there, or if you break that or whatever, any of this, if you break the wire, you might just be able to get another one of these heatsink devices, and you'll be good. But if you break the connection on the board itself, you're gonna be fucked. And pardon my Spanish, but you're gonna need another board or something. So we'll gently disconnect this guy here. I have fat fingers, so I'm gonna use like a set of 2 flat heads or something to pop that out. I ended up using needle nose pliers to gently take that thing out, because it's hard to get off. Now see, this is a heatsink compound, old stuff that I was telling you guys about. See, it's all crusted now, and it's we're gonna clean this up, put some new stuff on there. Now the kind of dusty. I'm gonna clean that up too. We're gonna clean up off the old gunk on these here too. Clean all that off and replace it with a new heatsink compound. Now this is the connection I was telling you about, that there, and that connection powers the fan that cools the CPU and other processors. And this is a little hook that I was telling you about. This little hook holds the wire in a certain way so it won't flap around. and that thing is kind of tricky to get off because this guy here goes in there, so you have to pull this guy out like this to get it out. So it's kind of tricky. You just got to go slow about it. Don't rush anything. Now there's a lot of different ways to clean these off. I would recommend I would recommend either alcohol or some sort of cleaner for electronics that's not gonna leave residue or that's not conductive. You don't want to use something that will stay there and short something, you know, or whatever, create dust bunnies and stuff like that. So if it's really caked on there, use some alcohol or something that's safe for electronics, and that's for you to choose. So first we'll clean those off. We'll clean off the stuff on the heatsink compound, and we'll go from there. There's a lot of different heatsink compounds you can use, but since I'm gonna be using this a lot, I went ahead and got the Arctic Silver, which I've used for years, and noticed slight improvements. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's like sometimes it can be drastic improvements because of, you know, somebody didn't set it right, or the compound they used before was cheap, or they didn't apply it right, or there's dust bunnies. I don't know, but it all depends on the situation. But for me, usually on my equipment, I've had a few degrees of better cooling going on. But yeah, I got this from Micro Center. It might be a little expensive, but I needed it right away, and it works. So you can get it. You might be able to get it cheaper on Amazon. Amazon send me free stuff. So, but I don't know. I just needed it right away.
The Jedi Order has existed for thousands of years, keeping peace over the galaxy and defending it from those to conquer and kill. But it was like this. There was a time before the Jedi, before the pure.
Alright. So what I'm doing now is I'm cleaning the CPUs here. So you got to clean them really good. I used alcohol. I used isopropyl. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is what I use. So it's 91%. Now 70% is good. Only thing is that it has more water in it. 91% has less water, but it evaporates faster. So see, I would use a 91%. I use some toilet paper because if it crumples away, I can easily use compressed air to blow it out of the way, you know, and stuff like that. There's other stuff you could use, you know, like those lint cloths for glasses that are really soft or whatever, stuff like that. It's up to you. You should look that up. I don't know. I can't tell you what to use, but whatever you use, make sure it's something that it won't tear up as easily, or I know you're thinking toilet paper is not the right, you know, pick for this, but I've done this several times before, and to me that's just easier for me, and it's worked before, so I just keep doing it that way. But yeah, I mean, if you're a newbie or something, pick something like maybe a rag or something, or something that, you know, that is good for glasses, you know, stuff like that. Something just to polish this off. No, don't use any sandpaper, and clean these off. And what I'm doing, you want to clean the old stuff off because you want the new stuff to you know, get on there really good. See that I cleaned this off too. What I'm thinking about taking these thermal pads off and just applying heatsink compound to it. Those thermal pads really don't do that much. They're not as good as heatsink compound, but I'm gonna look that up and see what's up. I still got to clean this other CPU and stuff, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so after cleaning all those CPUs, making them shiny and nice, you want to make sure to clean off any dust and stuff that's around or on your fans here. This was actually pretty clean. Somebody must have cleaned it before or something. But I'm doing an experiment to see if I took one of the thermal pads off here, and I'm gonna apply a dab of heatsink compound and see if it touches one of these little guys there. And if it does touch and make a good seal, Then I'm going to take all these thermal pads off, especially that one, because heat-sink compound is better than that. So what you want to do is when you install this, or the heat-sink compound, you don't want to go crazy with it. You just want to dab. Some say a BB amounts of dab. I typically just put, depends on the chip, so I'll put like you know, like that much for that. And I'll go to this guy later. Let's see. Some people say, oh, just use your nail to spread it around and stuff like that. I would just use an old credit card. It's just cleaner that way, I guess. So just using a credit card and kind of, I mean, you technically don't have to do this, because once you apply the heat sink back on top, and the, you know, the heat makes it spread. But you can if you want to. I'm going to, so you can just, you know, spread it out a little. You don't necessarily have to like super coat it, the whole damn thing, you know. Just spread it out a little. You know, and let it do its thing. Once it, pretty sure once it starts getting hot, it'll start spreading. That's what it does. It'll expand. Some of these have different viscosities where they'll expand more than others. So I know max, you have to use, if you remove the thermal pads, you have to use a little bit higher viscosity. But basically, you can go like that. That one, obviously, I'm going to put a little bit more. Just a little dab on that one. Just a little dab, baby. Yeah. Now, again, you don't want to liberally apply this stuff on there. Heat-sink compound, you just want a good dab on there. You should look up the requirement for yours, but usually a small dab like that, a BB size dab, depending, like a small BB amount will do. Some people just like to put it on there and let it spread out on its own. I like to just spread it out on my own like that. It's up to you how you want to do that. I'm not here to tell you how to do it. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it, and you do it how you want to do it, basically, right? So what I'm gonna do now is apply just a dab of heat-sink compound here and see how this works. If it touches that. Okay, remember when I told you guys I was gonna use heat-sink compound to replace the thermal pads on here? Well, you have to use what's called like these little shims or whatever. They're made out of copper. So what they do is they're like spacers. They add more space, so this heat-sink will touch, because you took the thermal pads off, and the thermal pads are kind of thick, you know. So this replaces the thickness of the thermal pad, and so it's copper, so it'll, you know, interface with the heat-sink compound. So add a little bit on there, and then you add a little bit on there, and you'll be fine. So just make sure to do it on each one of those. This size is 15 millimeter by 15 millimeter, and 1 millimeter thickness. They were like $6 on Amazon. Buy me, give me free stuff, Amazon. So just make sure you spread that on there thinly, you know, like evenly with a card or something. So spread it evenly. I know this is kind of nasty, so I'll clean it up, but you just want to spread it evenly on there with a card, and then go from there on each one that you want to do that on, and then carefully put this thing back on. So yeah. Alright, what I'm doing now is I'm putting the heat sink on. What I'm doing is I tying up just a little bit on 1, just a little bit on 2, just a little bit on 3, just a little bit on 4, and etc. Just to get everything aligned, you know. And then I keep going like that until everything's tightened pretty much. Alright, so far everything worked the way I wanted it to. All the heatsink is touching the heatsink and the chip itself, so everything's touching, interfacing all the chips and everything. Plenty of all the gaps have been covered. So for you beginners, this ended a long time ago. For the little bit more advanced people, I'm gonna test some more stuff, so don't be hating and saying, "Oh, you know what you're doing" or whatever. I'm not gonna show all the testing later on, or maybe I will, I don't know. But for you beginners, you're done. Now this would be a good time again to change your chips out. If you want to do, this laptop will do 2 8GB sticks, and that's pretty much it. I didn't do much of a good job of cleaning out that dust, but I'll do it in another video when I upgrade my RAM, and I'll show you guys how to do that too. Questions, leave a comment. Concerns, leave a comment. Suggestions, leave a comment. Subscribe. And again, there's many ways to do this, but this is how I did it. And before I go, remember, when you tighten these guys up, do it in order. Do like, just tighten up 1 a little bit, 1, tighten up 2 a little bit, 3 a little bit, 4, and keep going until you're done. Just, so, love you, bye.